What did you do for holidays? Were there holidays? Did he take time off ever to spend with the family? What was Christmas like, for instance?
Oh, Christmas was Turoon candy. You know what Turoon candy is?
No.
The little square Italian candies. Popcorn balls. But a big meal.
Mm-hmm.
You'd think that ravioli would be enough, but there was always dishes of ravioli, turkey, fruits, and spend all afternoon at the dinner table,
Mm-hmm.
Chatting, drinking wine, and it was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't too much under the tree, but we'd look forward to it and had a great day. Now, holidays, you couldn't take a holiday because you had the animals to take care
Mm-hmm.
of
Mm-hmm.
all day long. But occasionally going to one of the neighbors on Sunday afternoon to play bocce and
Mm-hmm.
drink a glass of wine, that was, I think, about the only social life. But really, we didn't feel as though we were deprived of any social life because we didn't realize that there was something like a social life
Mm-hmm.
available. We just enjoyed being home.
Well, the level of expectation was, I think for everybody, was different then. We didn't consider that we had any kind of leisure. I know my dad worked as hard as anybody could possibly work, I thought, and yet we had more time than your father had.
Yeah, he would take us swimming. Well, after we bought our first car, a Rio Flying Cloud. He came home one day with this Rio Flying Cloud, and my mother couldn't believe it, you know, he'd go out and buy a car. But we would occasionally went to, I think, Bantam Lake swimming, and that was a big deal. But it didn't happen very often, 3 or 4 times during the course of the summer, going on a trip like that. Or a drive to Torrington to visit relatives. That was a big day.
Yeah.
You know, that would last a long time. You know?
A major adventure.
Oh, that sure was. Yes. Yeah. In fact, there used to be a gentleman that, I don't know what his name, we used to call him Peopley. And occasionally he would lay out a route where 2 or 3 families would go for a ride on Sunday afternoon. And I remember one Sunday we went as far as Bear Mountain Bridge. And well, we had all packed a lunch, and we stopped along the way and had lunch. It was an all-day trip to go to Bear Mountain Bridge. And he had the route laid out. Something went out caravan with a caravan, you know, visit Bear Mountain Bridge. Looked at the bridge, turned around, and came back.
Now, I presume it was a big thing for your family when you went to college. That must have been a major symbol of success, was it
I
not?
was the only one that went to college. The rest of my sisters, I'm sure. Well, I know my older sister only went as far as 8th grade, and then she went to work for a family in New York City as a domestic. And that was expected of all the older girls, you know, that after 6 or 7 years of school, that was plenty. You went out and earned a living to help support the family. And in fact, that's how my family first met the Garlascos. My sister Sophie was their maid. And when they lived in New York City and ran the Club Lido there, and she lived with them in New York City. And then when they moved to Canaan, no, she had left by that time. She went to work for a family in Armonk, New York. And most of the girls did that. My sister Seal left school. I don't think she went to high school, but she went to work for before Martin, Parsons Store, before Martin O'Neill. And my sister Rose, who was the one older than I, was the first one that completed high school. So,
And they all contributed money back to the family support?
Oh, I know my sister Rose, she was working for the state highway at the time, was also contributing my tuition. Everybody did that. took care. That's why I was the fortunate one. You know, I was the youngest, and they all were contributing to my welfare.
Mm-hmm. It's good to be the youngest at that rate, huh?
Yeah. The sad part of it is I was never able to reciprocate. You know, it was. It's one of the things you look at. You could never repay them for what they did.
Now you went to school and then you came back to Canaan, and what did you do when you first came back as an adult after your training? Did you go right into Newkirk's?
The funeral home that I was working for with in Hartford was Roger Newkirk's father.
Mm-hmm.
So that during the Korean War, I was drafted. I was drafted 3 or 4 times. I would get as far as New Haven and get rejected. But Roger asked me to come to work for him here in Canaan, and that was in 1945, and been here ever since.
This may be kind of an oddball question, but I always wonder how